Hello, everyone. Happy Clean Air Day, first of all. We are here together for the International Day of Clean Air for Blue Skies. Let Me Breathe is glad to partner with UN Environment Program, where we can begin a discussion around clean air. Air pollution, as you all know, is the most pressing environmental health crisis in the world. It is responsible for about 6.5 million deaths annually, the bulk of which, almost 70%, occurs in the Asia Pacific region. In addition to health hazards, air pollution is a threat to the region's economy, food and water security, and climate systems. This hampers the region's efforts to grow sustainably. One such city that is struggling and surfacing to beat this is Agra in Uttar Pradesh. Joining us today are some of the distinctive voices who focus on bringing air pollution back into mainstream conversations. Welcome to you all. Nikhil Tikaram Fande, who is the municipal commissioner in Agra. Chandra Bhushan, who's an environmentalist and CEO of International Forum for Environment, Sustainability and Technology. Manish Mittal, who's the District Forest Officer in Agra. Dr. Pratima Singh, who is the research scientist and lead air pollution at CSWEP. Welcome to all of you.
Thank you.
All right. So my first question is to all of you. How do you think we can retain blue skies and clean air post a COVID-19 world?
So, first of all, the blue sky and the clean air that we have experienced during COVID has come at a major cost. As you know that the economy was shut down, transport sector was shut down, businesses were not operating. So we don't want clean air when everything is shut down. We want clean air when our economy is operating at full throttle, when people have jobs and we are able to provide developmental gains to everyone. So for that, we will have to transform the economy to a green economy. Currently, our economy is largely brown, but fortunately, we now have technology as well as resources, which will allow us to transition to a green economy and give us the opportunity and provide us the opportunity to have clean air in Agra as well as in all the cities of the country.
Nikhil, sir, leading from Sir's answer, UP's work on a clean air action plan has been appreciated a lot. What learning can other states take from it?
First of all, thank you for inviting me to this panel discussion. As you rightly said that UP's work in National Clean Air Program has been appreciated. I think the major part of credit should go to UP Pollution Control Board, led by Mr. Ashish Tiwari, who is the member secretary of the board, because he has very clearly laid down what things are to be done by each and every department. And in my case, each and every Nagar Nigam. For example, we were given 4 tasks to do, like purchase of sprinklers, purchase of road sweepers. Then there is this underground reservoir for recycling water, which will then be used by sprinklers to settle down the dust. And similarly, other cities and other departments have been given very specific targets. So I think that is one of the reasons why National Clean Air Program has been so has proceeded so well in UP. And then coming back to your question, that how can we hope to see clearer and bluer sky? So, like Chandrabhushan sir said very rightly, and I would like to continue that it is important when I speak as an administrator for city. There are 2 3 points which come to my mind straight away. First is looking at the traffic, how smooth the traffic is, and how fluently can we make it uh, you know uh, make it be there. Then some other points are also there, like use of CNG or use of vehicles which are based on electricity. And third is, there are many things like, banning of fossil fuels or coal in small shops and factories. But most important is, I think we have very good laws in the country. We need to respect those laws and those guidelines. And I think whatever things have passed are in the past, let it be. But from now on, let us stick to the guidelines and the frameworks which have been created beautifully. And if we stick to those, I think we will, not today, but in the future, definitely have better and bluer sky.
All right, thank you, sir. I would like to take this forward to Manish, sir. What efforts is the District Environment Committee taking to ensure clean air for Agra?
Uh, See, the government of Uttar Pradesh has been very serious about implementation of and getting our air clean and bringing the air quality within the prescribed limits. So the government of Uttar Pradesh has created a 4-tier monitoring system under which the District Environment Committee is the first stage whereby monitoring takes place at the district level. The district magistrate of the Agra is the chairman, and I, as the member secretary, coordinate. So basically, the committee is a multi-stakeholder committee, whereby we have the representatives from the NGO sector, from the expert members, and all the government departments concerned. And in the committee, whatever the action plans have been made for each department, which have already been approved, and timelines, deadlines have been allotted to them, they are being very closely monitored. And if there is any interdepartmental issues or some issues which need to be flagged up at the higher level, the committee then chips in and does that job. So that is the major mandate of the committee, and that is how on monthly basis we are monitoring and trying to get the results within the time.
All right, thank you so much. Pratima ma'am, taking this conversation forward, what do you think are the key sources of pollution in Agra and how can we monitor them better?
Sorry, we are on a virtual platform and we have to realize that we need to unmute yourself, before we speak. Yeah. So, talking about the major sources of pollution, the various studies that have come out, they usually target on the transportation. And Agra being a tier 2 city, a lot of emission do come out from the domestic sector as well because of the cooking habits that people have there. They use a lot of solid fuel and a cow dung. And in one of the recent study by IIT Kanpur, it was highlighted that the discoloration of Taj Mahal is due to the particulate pollutant concentration in the air. And it highlights a lot of waste burning issues, cow dung and solid fuel being used in the cooking. So there are other sources as well, industries and brick lanes. But what needs to be focused right now is definitely transportation and cooking, which we can definitely, uh, he- these sources will help to reduce the pollution drastically going forward in the future.
Yes, and like you mentioned, the Taj Mahal. I'd like to go forward to Nikhil sir and ask him, is Taj affected by air pollution, and what are the steps that are being taken to ensure that we reduce it around Taj Mahal?
Yes, definitely. I think we all know that Taj Mahal is affected by air pollution. But what we also need to understand is, there are no boundaries to these things. Obviously, so the surrounding districts and even pollution from Delhi can affect what is happening to Taj Mahal. But what we can do is we can control whatever activities are happening within the jurisdiction of Agra city. So, like Pratima just mentioned, cooking using fossil fuels or using not so efficient or not so green fuels is one of the major problem. Similarly, there are a lot of factories which still use coal. So our major focus is that we are imposing a very harsh penalty on anybody who is found to do that, because traditionally Agra has had such factories, especially the Petha factories which have been using these. But I think now it is not so much in vogue. A lot of these factories and a lot of these small time industries have shifted to greener fuels. Then secondly, when it comes to vehicular emissions and the pollution which is caused by them, we are doing our best. We are trying to widen the roads. We are trying to, ensure that no dust particles should get into the air. That is why sprinkling devices have been purchased. And then we are also trying to, uh, 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 take it to take into loop the industries which are here, and whatever things which are under enforcement from us, we are working hard along with along with the pollution control board and of course DFO sir to enforce those things.
Yes, and Manish sir, I would like to ask you, how can we move towards a more sustainable development approach where we take care of resources like our community forests and rivers that can actually help in clearing the air? Because we're obviously talking about the problems, we also need to now look at a solution to these problems.
See, as per my understanding, see, first of all, we need to, delineate our green zones so that, we need to secure them first of all. So those must be the no-go zones whereby we do not do any development, and those are only just meant for the carbon sink of the city. So once we have that suitable areas earmarked and developed, then now we can think of how to, bring in sustainability in the development activities. So the most important thing is already we have, the regulations for clean air, for clean water, for, construction and development waste, and those are very comprehensive legislation. So we need to, get those things, implemented very seriously, and those who are, those who default to that should be taken, on task and should be penalized. And as a general way of life, I think Corona, this pandemic has, exposed us and, to a certain extent made us to learn that, we need to change our lifestyle. We need to, somehow alter our consumption patterns, move away from the, plastic-oriented consumption system, and be more eco-friendly. So those 7 R's, which are quite, well known for the sustainable development, whereby you rethink before using anything, you reuse it, you recycle it, you reduce the consumption. All these 7 R's have to be, brought into the lifestyle. I think then only we can have the sustainable development.
All right. Bhushan sir, I would like to ask you, since we're talking about sustainable development, what do you think are the drivers of growth that are sustainable first and don't harm our environment as much?
Every sector we have option. In certain sectors, the options are commercially viable. In certain sectors, the options are at the pilot stage, and with policy and regulatory changes, we can make them commercially viable. For example, today solar and wind energy is much more, they're much more affordable than coal-based thermal power, and therefore you are seeing tremendous growth in renewable energy sector in the country. Whereas battery storage is not commercially viable right now, but maybe within a few years, renewable plus battery will be cheaper than the grid power. And then it makes all the economic and social sense to move to renewable energy. Similarly, plantation and ecological solutions are eminently economically viable. Uh, Green cover gives you cleaner air, reduces dust pollution. I just want to mention here that one of the significant source of particulate emission in Agra is dust, and we will have to do something about dust. So, ecological answer, greening of the landscape is going to give us both water, clean air, reduce air pollution. As far as industry sector is concerned, I think the decision of Mr. Nikhil also said to stop solid fuel and move to gas has been a wise one. Uh, we have to do similar things in brick kiln sector. So one of the major polluting sector which needs to be addressed in the airshed of Agra is brick kiln. We have about 800, 900 brick kiln in the airshed of Agra, who are the largest source of who are the largest consumers of coal right now. So we need some answer for the brick kiln sector. But as I started by saying, I think we have to look at different sectors and find solutions. And in most sectors, we have some answers. Even if we don't have all the answers, we have some answers, and we can start with those answers to begin with.
Yes. Thank you so much for that. And Pratima ma'am, moving on from what Bhushan sir has added right now, how can Agra harness the power of renewable energy for clean air?
Definitely, as Mr. Bhushan has mentioned, that we need to move towards sustainable mode of power. And yes, solar energy needs to be considered as the mainstream source of energy rather than an alternative source of energy. And in one of the reports I was just going through, and it did mention that Agra has a rooftop solar potential of around 20,000 megawatt. So yes, there is a scope where we can, use the solar energy potential that we have in the city.
Yes. Uh, at this point, I would just like to interject and ask anybody who is joining us right now, they can share any questions if they have to these panelists, and you can just share those questions and we'll have those also answered. Uh, I would like to open the floor to everybody now, and this is more of an observation that you all can feel free to comment on. We all saw that the nationwide lockdown sort of cleared our skies, and everybody was applauding these clear skies on their Instagram feeds, on their Facebook, Twitter, etc. But did we sort of forget about indoor pollution? Did we forget, like all of the other sources of pollution that you all mentioned? Did we sort of give all of them a back seat when we were thinking about pollution, visible pollution to ourselves?
See, during the COVID lockdown, uh, of course, outdoor air pollution reduced significantly. And indoor air pollution issue is there, but I must, put this point here that over the last few years, the LPG connection has increased significantly in India. So even though most people might not be using LPG as a primary source of cooking fuel, especially the poor, they have, they have got the taste of using LPG, and there is going to be a demand for cleaner fuel even from economically weaker section going ahead, and there are certain government support program for indoor air pollution in terms of cooking fuel. But I want to give you a sense about what future is going to look like. Uh, if we are looking at climate change, then frankly speaking, gas is also not the solution. Methane is 20 times more, has 20 times more global warming potential than carbon dioxide. So if over a period of time we will have to move out of coal, we will also have to move out of gas and oil. And the global experience shows that the technology is evolving for using electricity as a cooking fuel itself. For example, the cheapest source of cooking globally right now is induction cooking, uh, which is electricity-based cooking. So I think in India also, my sense is that going ahead, urban India will move from gas to electricity. And then if electricity is going to become much more cheaper, then rural India will also move to electricity. But in between, there will be access to LPG to most people, and we should be able to at least reduce significantly indoor air pollution as well.
Anyone else wants to add to that?
Yeah, I would like to add something here that, yes, rightly said that urban will move towards uh, electricity, and probably rural will also follow if there is power availability. However, what I have observed during my studies in Bihar, people do have LPG connections. In Patna, they have LPG penetration rate of 90%. But to my surprise, when we conducted surveys, we found that 30% people were still using solid fuel because there is not availability of the refilling stations nearby, and because men go out to work and it becomes difficult for a female to go out and refill the bottles. So we need to focus on those aspects also if we want that the rural sector needs to use LPG on a regular basis rather than just using when the relatives are coming back or on special occasions. So awareness is definitely a key which we need to include in our communication towards humanizing the data. This is a very important aspect that we all miss out, in terms of just gathering data and communicating the scientific aspect. We need to create community leaders among ourselves who can take this message towards to the interiors of our rural India. Yeah.
Yes, and I think it's very important that we move on to collective action and community participation. And that is where my next question to Manish sir comes in, where Agra has been witnessing a lot of collective action from different stakeholders to combat air pollution. Can you tell us a little more about that?
As I told, District Environment Committee is already a multi-stakeholder organization. So that committee, the chairmanship of PM Agra, with the valuable participation from Nikhil Ji as Municipal Commissioner, various NGOs have been involved. In addition, UNEP has also coordinated with us. So we are working with them, and they are bringing the foreign partners and other NGOs which were already working with them to bring the greater technology interventions and better technology inputs for the sector. So, like Masterworks Foundation, they have started working on on plastic waste management in the city. A European technology have been, being on tested on the pilot basis for sewer treatment in one of the drains in Agra now. So that is how, the collective effort is being put up by the, different stakeholders, different organizations who are coming on the board.
Yes, and Nikhil sir, there have been so many efforts on waste management in Agra, which eventually supports reduction of air pollution. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, so I would firstly, the process of segregating waste in a decentralized manner is what we are trying to achieve. But not talking actually about that. But I would like to go back to what Mr. Chandrabhushan was saying, that electricity is going to be the cheapest and is going to be the fuel of the future. So whatever waste we are collecting, we have in the process of we are in the process of setting up a waste to energy plant of 10 megawatts. So what is collected from door-to-door collection from Agra, all that waste will go to our site in Kuberpur, where this plant will process this waste and generate 10 megawatts of energy. So I think talking about sustainable development, the future is about recycling, reusing, upcycling. So this is one of the things that I wanted to point out, which Agra is going to do. Similarly, one waste which we tend to neglect, or general public tend to neglect, which regards to air pollution, is the C&D waste, that is construction and demolition waste, because it a lot of dust particles go out into the air from the C&D waste. So it is very important that this is processed. First of all, this is collected, and then this is processed in a recommended way. So for that also we are setting up. The permission is pending, but we are already going ahead with 140 TPD plant of C&D waste in Agra. Apart from that, we also are setting up another 5 TPD, that is 5 tons per day C&D waste plant in Agra. So I think this will go a long way ahead in controlling air pollution in Agra.
I was moving on to Bhushan sir to just talk about a lot of his work has been on solving air pollution problems in India. What do you think what do you think is lacking in terms of that, and what actions can individuals and organizations take in order to ensure clean air for all in Agra?
So I think as far as Agra is concerned, we have a history of air pollution control measures and policies in Agra. In fact, I came across a report which is actually a 1970s report which was done when Agra Mathura refinery was being set up. And at that point of time, air pollution was a concern, and number of recommendations were given in terms of reducing sulfur emissions from Mathura refinery when Mathura refinery was being set up. And since then, we have had many measures on air pollution in Agra. But I think one point that Mr. Nikhil made is very important, and he made that point. I want to just repeat it, that there are things that Agra can do on its own, and it should do. But Agra's air quality is also affected by its air share. And if we really want to see improvements in air quality in Agra, then the regional perspectives will have to come in. And the regional perspective means that there is Firozabad, which is an industrial cluster. As I said, there are about 800 to 900 brick kiln from Bharatpur to outskirts of Agra that will have to be looked at. And also the pollution from NCR, which is reaching Agra. So one, that we need to have a regional perspective, an airshed perspective for improving the air quality in Agra. And of course, I'm sure that the local administration will be more than happy if solutions are provided to them to take actions in different sectors. So there is, we are doing some study on industrial pollution within the city. And we think that foundries are where some action will have to be taken, especially with respect to induction furnace. So induction furnace, they have moved to electricity right now. But as you know, it is a high temperature operation and you have a lot of particulate that gets emitted from induction furnace. And Agra has sizable number of induction furnace which create localized air pollution. So we are doing some work on that, and we should come out with a comprehensive report on local industrial pollution in Agra very soon. I'm happy to tell you that as far as PETA units are concerned, frankly, majority have already moved to LPG. Few of them are still on coal, but when we did economic analysis, we found that LPG is actually cheaper than coal. So if we are able to convince the others also in terms of economic terms, they too would be most happy to leave coal and move to LPG. So we will come out with that report very soon, which I'm sure the district administration would be happy to look at.
Yes, and moving on from there itself, you mentioned data, and we all know how important data is, especially when we're reporting on environment. And I would like to ask Pratima ma'am, how can we collect better data on air pollution, and how can we use that data better? Because right now there's a huge gap between policy making and the data that we are collecting on environment.
So yes, Pollution Control Board is collecting data using various manual and one continuous air quality monitoring station also. But looking at the geographical setup, we need to monitor at other areas as well. So in that case, we talk a lot about low cost devices. So it would be good to understand the hotspots in the city first. That will help us to understand what are the various sources at various location, and based on that we will be able to come up with specific measures, plans and strategies going forward that will definitely help to clean up the city in terms of reducing the air pollution level. So yes, the manual stations and the continuous air quality monitoring stations are very costly, and increasing the number will take some time. So we should rely on the other semi-reference grade instruments that we have right now in the country, and we can calibrate them using the reference grade instruments that we have, and we can monitor at different locations. Apart from that, just monitoring is not going to help until and unless we also implement the strategies. The major challenge that I have seen in our Indian system is the governance is a huge problem, and me working with various pollution control boards have understood that they do take a lot of steps, but that does not cascade to the citizens. Moreover, the various state departments, they also need to have an understanding of the air pollution. Let's say the transportation, they are more focused towards infrastructure development, or building roads or pothole, filling them up. Air pollution is at the backstage. They don't care about the air pollution much, and same is for other sectors as well. So there needs to be an environmental cell within all the line departments who can understand how air pollution is getting air quality is getting impacted because of the sources from the other various sources. So there needs to be a nexus within the various line departments itself, so that they can work together towards curbing the pollution in the city. So apart from data collection, that also needs to be communicated to the various departments who can act and coordinate on the various measures that has been assigned to them under the Clean Air Action Plan.
Yes, very rightly. And I would like to ask Nikhil, sir, what are the sort of activities that Agra has undertaken to control vehicular emission? Because Agra has sort of time and again faced that sort of a problem in its air quality.
First of all, what Pratima was saying regarding data collection, I would just like to add something. Under the Smart City project, we are setting up 20 continuous air quality monitoring systems in Agra. So these are spread out throughout the city, and I think we will get a lot of good data. And we would also, get this data to be used by Pollution Control Board as well as or other stakeholders who are involved in air quality monitoring. So that is one thing. Secondly, talking about vehicular emissions, firstly, under the Smart City project, again, we have, we are in the process actually, and half of it is also running. Uh, Adaptive traffic management system has been implemented. So those who are new to it, I would like to just point out that this is automated system wherein the traffic signals are operated in a in a um, self automated way where I think you get the point what I mean to say. So this adaptive traffic management system is one thing which is being implemented in Agra. Apart from that, like I told already, we are trying to concretize the roadsides which are having loose soil. Apart from that, a lot of plants and trees are being planted around. I think Agra, just before I joined, spent around 5 crore rupees on plantation of trees. This was apart from what the target was given to us by the state government of 1 lakh trees. So I think a lot of investment has been done in this regard. And vehicular traffic also involves widening of the roads so that the smooth flow of traffic can take place. So those things are also being identified. Those roads are also being identified, and continuously we are trying to improve those things.
Yes, thank you so much for that, sir. I would move on to the last question now, which is pretty much the same for everybody. What is the one clean air solution you'd want more people to adopt this clean air day? We can start with Manish, sir.
Uh, if I'm permitted, just I'll, add on to what Nikhilji has
Sure,
said
sir.
and, what was being said about the data. Recognizing the sources of pollution is very important. And for Agra city, the study for the source apportionment has been already given to IIT Kanpur. So they are coming up with a very comprehensive study, and thereby they will be, differentiating the Agra city into different grids and identifying what are the sources in each grid. So then, in addition to the data of the air pollution in every grid, will have the sources in every grid. So thereby, it will be convenient for the departments to respond. And secondly, we are trying to, compile the good case studies from the nation, from across the country and the international arena, so that we have some good solutions to those problems. It's always better to learn and that. And we have been, as Nikhil told, we have been, planting in the city. And so plantation sector also, we have been using technology to identify what are the prime spots to plant. So for an example, the windrows diagram study has been done in the Agra to identify what are the, which direction the wind load is the maximum, and then to identify the vacant places there and do the plantation. So that is how, we are trying to, use the technology and the data into different sectors here. And as far as the take for the clean energy is concerned, and especially as I'm from the forest background, so my message and my request to all and everyone will be that each one plant one, and they should maintain a grass cover, especially of the local grass like root grass, which is quite common in our area, outside their houses, so that the dust load is reduced. So I think that is my appeal to all and everyone.
Thank you so much for that, sir. Bhushan sir, what do you think can be a clean air solution that people can adopt with a specific interest to Agra?
I think segregate your waste, and if everyone does that, we will be able to reduce burning of waste in the city, which is a significant pollution source in Agra.
Yes, I think you've just hit the right nail. Pratima ma'am, what do you think can be one such air solution?
Yes, I also agree with Mr. Bhushan that Agra being a tier 2 city and it's still growing, development is still happening, but development should not happen at the cost of human health. And we have a tendency to burn our own waste outside our doorstep and use solid fuel for cooking. So these are the two major aspects that I would say that we need to stop solid waste burning, be it our solid waste or fuel wood that we use in cooking. We need to stop that.
All right, thank you so much for that. Nikhil sir, what do you think can be this one clean air solution?
I think all of them have already given, said the things, and there is nothing new to this. I think, but I think it is always better if we can plant one. It is the easiest thing to do, even if we cannot stop burning those things. If it cannot be communicated to people, but everybody knows it is in our culture. It is internalized that we can plant one tree at least. So that is my thing, which I would like to say.
All right. I'll just, in the end, I just want you all, the floor is open if you want to add anything else, especially in context to Agra and its setup and the conversation we've had for clean air, for blue skies. The floor is open.
This is Atul Bagai. I'm the country head for UN Environment Program, and I wanted to thank you for conducting this very, very nice discussion. And I would like to compliment the district authorities, especially the DFO and the municipal commissioner who are here, who for us are the real champions on the ground in Agra. And we are very proud to be working with them and with the district magistrate and the district administration on this particular issue. I also wanted to outline that solutions certainly is the way forward. Finding good solutions which are local and specific is the key, because we've all talked about the problem for many years. I think the time has come where we go in for action. And the kind of solutions that have come out today in this discussion, both at a waste management level and also at a afforestation level, are very useful. I wanted to also highlight that UNEP has recently come out with a small guidebook called 25 Solutions, based on a very extensive scientific study that was done for Asia and Pacific. And it will be useful to look at those 25 solutions. I'm very happy that the Agra Air Action Plan that was published integrated those 25 solutions into the document. And I think going back to them for finding Agra specific solutions would be a very useful thing. And we are happy to work with all our partners at the district level with this. And I'm very thankful to CSTEP and also to Chandrabhushan for taking part in this very good and intensive discussion. So thanks a lot.
Thank you so much, sir. We are also drawing to a conclusion, and I would just like to say that air pollution doesn't just have to be something that is a part of our collective future. It can also become our present if we strive towards for that. And we need to just sort of bring in collective action on allowing people to work and act on clear and clean air. Thank you so much for joining the conversation, and thank you so much for being a part of this.